Enter the arena of battle. A demanding proving ground where players who aspire to greatness undertake a treacherous quest that ultimately pits man against man.
The NBA Commemorative Collection presents Classic Confrontations.
The blacktop of the playground. Basketball in its purest form. It is here where the most primal of confrontations take shape. And where dreams take flight.
You develop your skills, you develop your talent to compete. You know, the beauty of this game is the competition. And if you're not gonna compete, you're cheating the game.
My brother and I, we just used to play all the time. We had a backcourt basketball court, and we would just play against each other until one could dominate the other. So he really helped me create some determination in myself to beat him. If I could beat him, I felt I could beat anybody.
There's little things you pick up by playing basketball every day that, especially as a kid, that you put in the back of your mind, and when them situations arise on the court, you know how to utilize them.
Well, my first memory of basketball and watching all the guys play, Dave Bing and Will Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, these guys, and then going out after the Sunday afternoon games and trying some of those moves. Like one Sunday, Earl the Pearl might have hit for 25, 30. Now, the next Monday at the playground, everybody wanted to be Earl.
I was a one-on-one ball player. I was a schoolyard ball player. But when you get right down to it, basketball is a one-on-one game.
Earl Monroe, of course, is Earl the Pearl. There's no player ever in the game like Earl. Never. And I don't know if there ever will be.
In 1967, Earl the Pearl brought his playground show to the NBA, instantly attracting a legion of admirers. That same year, a rookie guard of dramatically contrasting style also began to attract a devoted following, providing Monroe with a perfect opposite.
To me, Walt Frazier, even with all the credit that he received, I thought was underrated. Maybe because of his style, he was not flamboyant. He did everything in such a low-key fashion and always came through in the big games.
When things got really tight, I was always deadpan. I never showed any emotion. So most people say, wow, this guy's really cool, man. How could he be like that when everyone else is going berserk?
And when the unflappable Clyde and his Knicks met the electrifying Pearl and his Bullets, an historic rivalry was born.
Clyde and myself, you know, two young guys came in the same year vying for that position to be called the best.
More than just opponents, they were each the embodiment of their team's philosophies.
The Knicks were a pass and the open man type of team. We were a one-on-one team, so that made for a great matchup. And, you know, it was always New York and Baltimore as well, so Clyde was, again, the establishment, and I was the anti-establishment.
Yeah, I remember Fire and Ice, the two analogies that they made for us.
They were specialists at opposite ends of the court. One a magician, the other a thief.
We were so evenly matched that, and nobody wanted to give an inch.
Frazier is guarding Monroe. Monroe here's to his left. 10 seconds to go. Monroe one-on-one with Frazier. Monroe drives right, 2 seconds. He jumps, buzzes out, no good! And we go to overtime.
Throughout the battles that we had when I was guarding him with the Bullets, we had a mutual respect. Like on the court, I never talked to Earl or he never talked to me. But I never backed down and he never backed down. So he respected me for the job that I was doing and vice versa.
That respect would be tested as Monroe and Frazier saw their rivalry take the most ironic of twists. They became teammates.
The New York press was saying that I would be traded. There was no way the two of us could play in the same backcourt. We would need 2 basketballs. But Earl and I never had a problem like the press thought we would, because when he came to the Knicks, we still had that respect.
You know, I was always the type of guy that I could admire other people's talents. And I could look over on the other side, and I felt good to see him doing well, because I know whatever happens during the course of a game, I could always go get mine when I wanted to, because that was just the type of player I was.
Earl and I felt that if the Knicks could hang in the game down in the last few minutes, that one of us would come up with the winning shot and pull the game out, and many nights we did.
2 of basketball's fiercest opponents, Frazier and Monroe, had become one of its greatest duos.
Let's go back to the phones. Hello, you're on the air.
How you doing? I'm first-time caller. I mean, I respect the player matchups as much as anybody, man. Earl, Pearl, and Clyde, nobody, I love them. But how about the coaches? I mean, these guys have the great matchups.
Bingo. Now there's a refreshing thought. Why the coaches have all the ammunition.
Absolutely, absolutely. No question, man. Yeah, the coaches. No, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Now take Chuck Daly.
And Riley, the Lakers.
The coaches sure don't take the shots, but they sure call them.
In some ways, it's a plus, but in some ways, it's very difficult for a coach, because you're always looking at which button do I touch and how long do I ride this player when he's not having a good night.
In order for, any team, any company, any group that has to accomplish something, and there's an objective and a vision, and it takes time to not only become perfect and fit, but for the other parts to be able to deal with them.
Somebody has to give up something on a club. Everybody can't play 48 minutes. Everybody can't get 48 shots, even though all of them, that's the way they would like to play. So consequently, I know playoff basketball is one-on-one basketball at times.
I found out that in the playoffs, it's not a battle of skills. It's a battle of wills. It's not a battle of how good you can shoot or how good you can rebound or dribble. It's a matter of how tough you are up here.
We're all out of sync. We're all out of position. We're not thinking at all. We're just going through the motions up and down the court. Not playing guys out here. I mean, stay tough. Stay tough. That's what it's about.
Anybody who understands success and finishing first or winning on a regular basis knows that it doesn't happen by chance. You don't ever get there just because of your talent.
It's all hard, baby. Let's go, let's go. Let's go, Pat.
For those few special teams, like the Lakers and the Pistons, strength comes from within.
You've never competed this hard before as an athlete. And if you're not willing to go deep down inside yourself and find that reservoir, then you're beat.
I guess really it's hard for people to understand what all goes into playing this game and playing it the way I want to play it. Everybody should go through it. You can't buy the feeling. If you could bottle it up, it would go for $50 million. Because all you do is screw off the top. Pull it in.
But success does not come in a magic potion, but rather from the sweat of devoted players and the design of a visionary coach.
Want a guy here and a guy here. Protect him. Give him the ball to the back.
First of all, I think you have to provide an atmosphere. And it's a constant selling job. It's one that the players ultimately have to realize that this is the way you win.
The only thing that I've ever known in my life about the game is hard work. And that hard work and concentration and dedication is not going to guarantee you anything. But without it, you don't stand a chance.
For these two teams, every contest is a battle of philosophies. But for James Worthy and Dennis Rodman, it is also a clash of styles.
Now here we have one of the great offensive players in this league going against the toughest defensive guy.
The hard-nosed Rodman is at the heart of the Pistons' defense, while Worthy's artistic grace is the essence of LA's offense.
I have great respect for professionals in every line of work. That's one of my favorite things. Whether it's a writer or it's a carpenter, I have great respect for professionalism.
In the vast workplace, there are few who ply their trade with the vigor and enthusiasm of Dennis Rodman.
Down Rodman, a second left, lets it fly, mid-court, goes, it goes, it does! A triple from half-court, the Warriors strikes!
I love my job, even though the job that I do on the court, people don't like. They don't want to do it. But I love what I'm doing. I want to earn my money. I want to earn my respect on the court.
And the Pistons' blue-collar worker will go to any length to earn his yeoman's reputation.
He's a hard-nosed competitor you'll find and plays every day the same, practice or games. Doesn't know anything except playing hard.
Like Rodman, Worthy gives total dedication to his craft, but through a very different medium of expression.
Discipline is the key to the foundation for the making of an artist, and that goes for any artist.
Worthy ended it out! I've never seen one like that.
Ballet and basketball, I think, are very close. I didn't realize the similarity until I had the opportunity to go to a couple of ballets, and I sat there and I watched that and I said, man, this is the same thing. So you go right down the line from team to team. The guys that have the leaping ability are usually the guys that will have the most similarity to the dancers. On the Lakers, you have to say James Worthy, because James is the guy that's graceful. James is the one that you'd have to look at and say, that is the guy that is the dancer on the team.
I've been watching him since he was at North Carolina, and he has always had his own style, basically, and it's usually very graceful watching him play.
And for the artist, the genius is in the execution.
Being able to repeat something cleanly over and over again, that's technique. And Mr. Worthy, I see him being pretty close to being technically perfect.
It's really scary how good he is, and especially when it's the big game or the big series.
And in those crucial moments, the burden of stopping him falls on one man.
By yourself, Warren, by yourself!
Now you get a guy who is not afraid to stick his nose in and play the toughest people night in, night out.
When I stop worrying, it's like a great, great feeling because, hey, this guy here get to the basket in the blink of an eye. I like doing things hard. I like to work. Work.
And when grit meets grace, a bruising ballet begins to unfold. In the 1988 finals, Worthy led LA past Detroit to gain back-to-back titles. But the confrontation was far from over. A year later, Rodman overcame agonizing back spasms to help the Pistons gain their first championship.
It's all right, big man. You got us here, we'll do the rest. You got us here, we'll do the rest.
And the rivalry continues. Because for basketball's greatest players, though their bodies may sometimes fail, their indomitable spirits do not. For 6'9" center Willis Reed, playing in pain was a way of life. Like his rugged adversary, 6'7" Wes Unseld, he made up what he lacked in height with unyielding desire. And when these two relentless warriors collided, the ferocious banging of bodies mirrored the epic battle of their wills.
I knew I had to face Willis Reed, doing a series, maybe 4 or 5 times during the course of the year. I didn't need anything else to psych me out because I knew if I wasn't ready, you'd probably get your face walked in.
There were 2 things about Wes that were significant. First of all, because he was not a great jumper, post-up-wise, if I could post him up, I could be a low post center against him. But one thing that Wes did better than most any other big guy in the league, he was an excellent offensive rebounder. And what he would do was, once the ball went away on the weak side, he would get himself in great offensive rebounding position. And what Wes had developed a real great technique, he would always put his arms up like so, and he would just take his big body and just walk you right up under the basket. And next thing you know, you look up, you're looking right up through the nets, and if the ball bounces off and he gets the rebound and puts it right back, or else you foul, it's a 3-point play or a 2-shot free throw.
He wouldn't crack. I knew going in that this was going to be a job that night. I would do everything I could think of doing to try and make Willis quit. But Willis Reed was not a quitter.
Basketball fans are waiting to see how you're going to do in the NBA, especially against fellows like Bill Russell, for instance, of the Boston Celtics. Now, you will be playing man for man, as I mentioned. Do you feel that you are ready for this? You've been ganged up on pretty much through your collegiate career, and with the Trotters, do you think the Trotters, for instance, helped you any?
Well, I actually do. I think there will be a period of orientation for me, of course, like it is for every newcomer in the NBA, but I think in the long run I'll be able to handle myself man-to-man with almost anyone in the league.
For one, there is no argument.
There's just really no comparison. If we had videotape, I think that it would just completely wipe all those thoughts away. There was any kind of comparison between Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell.
For the other, it is a comparison to be shunned.
At first, I considered him a rival as a professional. But then I realized very rapidly that that was a mistake.
But for most, it is one of sport's greatest rivalries. A compelling conflict of 2 very different men who dominated an era of NBA basketball.
My game was styled to give energy to my teammates. And if I were to consider Wilt a personal rival and going to play that way, then I'd have to score a lot more. And that means I would have to make the energy flow a different direction.
Though Chamberlain overwhelmed Russell statistically, it was the Celtics who continually emerged victorious.
He was concerned, as great as he was, primarily with his stats, with his records. Russell was concerned with one thing: did we win or did we lose?
But defeating Chamberlain required a total team effort.
I had to worry about the Celtics. I didn't have to worry about guarding Bill Russell. I didn't think so much when I played against the Celtics to worry about what is Russ going to do against me. I was worried about the whole team, and the whole team played me. I mean, they had 3 and 4 guys on me from time to time. Russ would just be behind me.
He was the most intimidating player that ever played this game. There's been a lot of players that have played as well at different positions, but there's no one that's played the game any better than Wilt Chamberlain.
Championships are won by people doing things that seem unimportant. but they're the things that make the difference between winning and losing at the highest level.
From his first season in 1959, Chamberlain was the NBA's most devastating offensive force and the single greatest threat to the Celtics' championship reign. Even as a rookie, Chamberlain's task was clear, but though he would win the first of 7 scoring titles, the Celtics would win the championship, defeating the Warriors along the way. 1962 brought the same story, as the Eastern Divisional Finals' main attraction was again Chamberlain versus Russell. And the result was the same. 3 years later, Wilt would suffer another near miss in dramatic fashion.
He loses the ball off the support. We're putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it over the fence goal.
As they squared off once again in 1966, the Celtic dynasty would once again show their superiority.
We were a better team, emotionally, intellectually, and mostly, in most cases, physically, as a team.
He was a guy that had such vicious determination as far as winning a ball game, and he had the mind to just use every little thing in the book of fundamentals to beat the other team.
But that next year, a relentless Chamberlain would finally have his time.
When you're playing against the best team in the world, and they're continually beating you in the big games, you felt like, I got to do something special, I have to do something great.
Wilt's 76ers was one of history's strongest teams, but their celebration was short-lived as the Celtics recaptured the title the very next year. Hoping to change the perception that he could not win the big game, Wilt joined the talented LA Lakers.
I played with him and against him. I always felt that Wilt, in some respects, has gotten a bum rap for not winning more championships. But the real frustrating part, I think, was when people started demeaning Wilt Chamberlain simply because his team couldn't compete with the Celtics. They weren't good enough, except on a couple of occasions. Boston simply had more good players.
But changing teams did not alter the season's outcome, as Chamberlain was once again unable to loosen Boston's decade-long stranglehold on the NBA championship.
He was very good. He was a very great player. But we beat him. We were just a little better. And so that if you single Wilt out and say that he's a loser, that's not right. I just say we were great winners.
But more than who won or lost, it's the memories of the rivalry that endure.
Here's the way Dumars does it. Who's better?
I think Michael Jordan. Who's my man? Except we can't jam like Jordan. I mean, Michael Jordan, he's slam dunk champion twice. I mean,
yeah, but whose team won the world championship last year?
we're looking for the MVP.
Who's better on defense?
Jordan's ball, man.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me tell you something about Michael Jordan.
First of all, he's virtually unstoppable.
That's a steal. He lobs for Jordan. It's his own rebound. Jordan on the drive. All the way to the rack. Powerhouse.
If I get the ball, you at mercy of whatever I want to do.
Left corner, 6 on the clock. Jordan drives a baseline, reverse layup is in.
There's nothing that you can say or do about it if I'm on my game.
High step on Mark Jackson in for the right side. Shoots it up baseline right in.
The feeling is like you own. You own the ball, you own the game, you own the guy who's guarding you. You can actually play him like a puppet.
What a show! What a show!
But Jordan knows that offense alone does not ensure victory.
You're not going to win it offensively. You've got to get to work everybody defensively. That's what I'm looking at. I got to have the defense.
When the call is for defense, Joe Dumars is always ready.
The ball into Magic Johnson, backing his man in. Dumars made a spectacular. Pulls it off. Dumars swipes it.
There's nothing I can show anybody
that's going to make them a good defensive player. It all starts right here. It's whether you want to do it or not.
In the 1989 championship series, the Piston guard did it all as he earned finals MVP honors and shed his image as a defensive specialist.
Anybody who plays basketball and tell you that he doesn't like scoring is lying. I mean, everybody wants to score. Everybody wants to shoot the ball.
Like Dumars, Jordan, too, has shown that his brilliance is not confined to only one end of the court.
Jordan knocked it away. Miller gets it back. Jordan steals his pass into the post. Harper in on Paxson. Jordan blocks it out of bounds.
That's an image that I don't want to project, that I just shoot and I just score and I'm just an offensive player. That's something that I don't want to be remembered as.
The perfect matchup between two masters of the all-court game. A confrontation primed to explode.
You can be loose and you can have fun while you're here, and it's great being here. But when it's time to step on the floor, it's all business, and it's not fun and games anymore. It's a war.
This competitive thing clicks in that you look for all the weaknesses of the defense that's playing you, and you look to break him down somehow, mentally, physically. It doesn't make a difference. I'm looking to destroy my defensive man.
Full quarter. Here's Jordan, left baseline drive to the Dustin. Oh, that was...
Every time he's on the floor, you become consumed by Michael Jordan. You become consumed that he's out there.
Middle of the center stage here.
When you make a mistake, it's not even a question of whether or not you're going to get burned. You're burned already.
Michael against Dumars on the drive in the lane. In deep, shoots off the glass, banks it in.
95% of the plays are for Michael Jordan. And the other 5% end up in his hand anyway.
Well, you kind of block that out, really. You know everybody knows you can get the ball. That's a known fact. If you know that everybody's going to try to keep you from getting the ball, then you go extra hard to try to get the ball. If someone's going to try to keep you from shooting it, you do whatever it takes to get the shot off or get it to open man so that you get the basket. When I get the ball, I have total confidence that he can't guard me. So I have that edge. Another edge is that I know where I want to go. He doesn't. So he can only guess.
Being a defensive player, when you're out there by yourself and there's no help, and it's just you and that guy, it really gives you a charge then, because you know it's just you and him, and somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. It's not going to be any in between. The most challenging moment for me is when they've isolated, and my man has the ball, and it's just he and I out front, or he and I on the wing. What happens is it's almost scary, because you almost know the moves before the guy's going to do it. You anticipate, and the guy's there, and you've trapped him or whatever, you've stopped him. You can definitely get on a defensive role as well as an offensive role.
From end to end, they are locked in mortal combat as all eyes are riveted on this captivating duel.
One time, baby. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Give me some.
And you live for those moments. You live for those moments.
That's an entertainment or showmanship, if you want to say it, of two people who has tremendous creativity, and you never know exactly what's going to happen next. And that's something that inspires everybody, and it certainly inspires me when I'm playing against them.
From the moment they step on the court, the spotlight belongs to them. And though it is a team game, they stand alone on center stage. They are the protagonists of basketball's most intriguing drama. That of man versus man. And perhaps the most sensational of personal engagements are those waged in midair.
light come down, and he said, and boom! Meat come down, boom! And they just go back and forth. And you know, Jordan had 30 at the quarter, Dominique had 22 at the quarter. And they be pointing at each other, you know, yeah, come on with it. And they just go at it, you know, and it's good competition. You know, they're not trying to hurt each other, but they're playing hard against each other.
But the competitive fires never burn brighter than when elimination hinges on every play. And it is in the pressure-filled moments of playoff time that some of the most celebrated rivalries are born.
I don't look to play the perfect game, you know, hitting 15 out of 15 shots, making all my free throws and no turnovers and make the right decisions. I don't play for that, but I play to have that one moment out there where I just take over the game and I know I got control of everything that goes on out there.
Game 7 of the 1988 Eastern Conference semifinals. For Dominique Wilkins and the Hawks, and Larry Bird and the Celtics, it was a time to test their championship resolve. For 3 quarters, the teams fought to a standstill. But it was only a prelude to what was to come. As the final quarter began, a grueling personal contest of can you top this was about to begin. Two men who brought out the best in each other. One left to ponder what might have been, the other to lead his team onward.
Let's choose. Odd, even, hard, good, one. I got Bird. I got Magic. Come on, man. What's going on here?
Okay, yo, I'm Magic. I'm
What's
Magic.
going on here?
Like specters, they chill the hearts of all who face them, stalking their nightmares and crushing their dreams. For their opponents, time has no meaning, because there is no escape. In a world of heightened perception, they weave their irresistible magic. Ultimately, facing only each other on the battlefield of the mind.
Double team at Bird. Larry, fake, fall away.
All right!
They'll talk about it the rest of your life. Magic fires for 3. Got it at the buzzer! Magic hit a 3-pointer. The Lakers win.
James to Bird. He gets a good shot in the Celtics winner.
Here comes Magic. He's got it. Here goes on the way for three. Bird on the drive across the lane. Magic down the middle. Larry. The Magic. Bird. The Magic. Bird. Spectacular play by Magic Johnson.
The genesis of the rivalry took place in 1979, when Johnson's Michigan State Spartans overwhelmed Bird's Indiana State Sycamores to capture the NCAA title. Next stop for this bold 20-year-old, Game 1 of his pro career.
Lakers win. Score it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has given the Los Angeles Lakers a victory, and Magic Johnson is out there celebrating like they just won the NCAA championship.
While Magic created an instant sensation in L.A., back east, Boston's newest hero pumped life back into the dormant Celtic tradition.
Larry Bird. That almost his own shot. Oh, what a play.
But their historic first meeting awaited. And at the L.A. Forum, both spectacular rookies were primed for the challenge. As Bird's uncanny shot-making ability was countered by Johnson's dazzling floor leadership. Round 1 went to Magic, and this breathtaking show marked the inception of a decade of classic NBA showdowns.
This game meant a lot to everybody, not just me and Magic probably, but you know, this is the first shot they had all year, and they wanted to look good in front of the crowd, and they did. So, you know, we're just looking for a rematch now.
Later that season, Johnson would travel to the unfamiliar confines of Boston Garden and enter Bird's domain.
I'm very excited about the big crowd and about being here in Boston for my first time.
It's going to be a big game, a lot of enthusiasm throughout the crowd, and I just hope the best team wins today.
Though Bird would go on to become Rookie of the Year, the game and eventually the title would belong to Magic's Lakers.
We go head to head, and we go for blood almost. You know, it's just, we're so competitive, and I just tell them a good game, and I just smile a little bit.
It was that enchanting smile that grabbed Madison Avenue's attention.
Magic 106.
Bird was not far behind.
For the best pro player, I walked away with the MVP.
As the two superstars seemed to be everywhere.
I heard Converse made a pair of Bird shoes for last year's MVP.
Yep.
Well, they made a pair of Magic shoes for this year's MVP.
Okay, Magic, show me what you got.
Everywhere except together in the finals. But in 1984, that would change. The time of reckoning was here for two great teams and two transcendent players. The series would be a proving ground, and both men were ready.
I enjoy playing against a lot of guys, but I don't think there's any one guy in the league that I'd rather play against than the Magic and his team.
From coast to coast, Bird and Magic took center stage as the Celtics prevailed in 7 furious contests.
As long as Larry's on the other side and I'm on this side, it's going to always be that. And after it's over, when we play in these all-star games, these old-timer games, we're going to want to beat each other. And after that, when I see him on a park and recreation, I'm going to want to kill him then, too. He's going to want to kill me.
The next year, Magic sought redemption, and though Bird threatened to steal another championship,
It's all over. It is all over. Boston wins the all-important 4th game.
Magic would dramatically turn the tables as the Lakers would become the first visiting team in history to win a title in the Boston Garden.
We wanted to beat each other so bad. We wanted to be the best, and I love it because we both make each other play our best game. And that's the best thing about this Bird-Johnson rivalry.
In its third stanza, their one-on-one war was at its best as Bird's spectacular efforts were mirrored by his worthy foe. And even the most devoted students of the game had to wonder if it has ever been played with such splendor and such drama, as the 1987 finals featured a gallant duel that would come down to one last shot.
5 seconds to go. Magic with a hook
Magic's just a great basketball player. He's the best I've ever seen, you know. Unbelievable. I don't know what to say.
What else can be said about these two ultimate masters of their craft? Between them, they appeared in every final series in the 80s, capturing 8 world championships and garnering every conceivable honor. But the true measure of their greatness can be found only in their reflection of each other.
Well, we've been competing for almost 11 years now, and we've had a lot of battles along the way, but we've always had respect, because I think the one key ingredient to making us, each of us, a good basketball player is that we come to win every night. We don't take a night off.
And when it is time for their last night, only one finale could do them justice.
Perfect ending would probably be us playing each other in the championship. And then coming down to the last game, 7 games. And we went into like 4 or 5 overtimes. And everybody fouled out but me and him. And then it would come down to us just playing, me and him against each other for the championship one-on-one. That would be the perfect ending.
A shot for the ages.
Yeah! Don't forget choose, man.
Man, you talked a lot of trash out there today.
I meant what I said. I owned you today.
We still friends though, right?
It's forever.
Friends forever, but adversaries for 48 minutes. For once the battle lines are drawn, the will to win is all that matters.
We're all pretty emotional. You know, we give and take and we feed off each other.
We get after it, you know. We're good friends and we can resolve things after it's over, but when we play just pick-up games, one-on-one, you know, we draw blood.
With the pleasantries on hold, nothing is sacred.
When we throw the ball up, hey, I don't know you, you don't know me. You come inside, I'm gonna slam you, he gonna slam me. I'm gonna take the shot, he gonna take the shot. And I'm gonna try to kill him, he gonna try to kill me, and I love it.
Get a bucket!
We play harder against each other probably than we do against people that we're not so close against, because there's a real competitive spirit there that we all share, and we all know it's there.
And now we see Magic Johnson getting it in.
You play the game and you compete. I mean, you know, it's like going out in the backyard and playing against your brother. You're playing a basketball game and you compete hard as hell, but that doesn't mean if he beats you, he's not your brother anymore.
In the heat of the battle and something happens and I may say something, he may say something, and then he's not gonna just let me say it, I'm not gonna just let him say it. I'm gonna snap back and use some words probably that I normally wouldn't use, but I want him to know that I'm out here to win the game and to win the battle as well.
For Magic, capturing world titles has meant defeating his closest companions along the way. But in 1989, they would all meet in the NBA Finals for the first time. And their personal war would take on a new dimension as an NBA championship hung in the balance.
Nobody has a face, you know, it's Detroit, it's Los Angeles, and if you do something wrong, I'm coming at you.
The struggle for supremacy can be painful.
Isaiah's down on the other end, and he's not getting up.
But a special few overcome these hardships to fulfill their undying passion for the game.
It takes all of me, all that I have, emotionally, physically, and mentally. And I'm not settling for nothing less than winning.
And when the games are over, friendships can resume. Until next time. It is in the playground, however, where allegiances shift quickly with the changing of sides, that basketball finds its ultimate clarity. Here, the enduring bond of friendship and the joy of competition stand openly side by side. And the beauty of the game comes finally from its essential simplicity.